Grande journée culturelle, cher Ahmadou Bamba, l'antenne hebdomadaire.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. That's the way to say hello in Islam, but a laudable way to say hello in Islam for peace. Today, I'm honored to be here with my honorable guest talking about Islam, talking about the preparation of the great cultural day dedicated to Sheikh Ahmed Bamba. Am I right? That my friend, Mr. Nyan, who is the Commissioner for Economic Investigation and head of the Regional Trade Service of Suivez. So hello, Mr. Nyan.
Hello, Mr. Book.
How are you doing?
Fine.
So it's been a long time, right?
It's been a long time, and I think I should say that I have the pleasure to be here today, a sort of tribute that I have to pay to hizbut-tarqiyyah training. So I have to say it publicly here. So I'm really honored to be here.
Thank you so much. So I'm on my left. I got a sister whose name is She is a financial analyst, and of course she is the head of the administrative and financial service of the Universal Head of Coverage. So how are you doing, sister? You fine? All right. So we're gonna talk about Sheikh Ahmed Bamba because we want to talk about Islam, and today I'm proposing you a very interesting topic. It's about ethics and the ontology. Islamic values rehabilitated by Sheikh Ahmed Bamba. Most of the time we're talking about ethics, we're talking about the ontology at the university, with the students, in schools, with the pupils. But we think that the basic line of those values take their roots from the Islamic faith. So it must be defined, it must be said, it must be demonstrated. And that's why I'm calling you here today to talk about that, sharing with me this session. But before proceeding any further, I would like Mr. Nyan to make a kind of tour about the concept.
Yes.
The concept between ethics and the ontology.
All right.
What will you say about that?
Thank you very much, Mr. Book. So let me say it again, that I have the pleasure to be here to share this forum with our religious guide and our sister, Sokhna May Mbake. So a forum, a topic of which, as you mentioned, is ethics and deontology as supreme Islamic values rehabilitated by Sheikh Ahmed Bamba. I have to say, as a starting point, that we can see that there is a slight difference between ethics and deontology. So, to my understanding, ethics can be just a philosophical way of maybe pondering over pondering over the notion of good, for instance, in life, as simple as that. A way of, for instance, let's say, thinking over morality, yes. It is also a way of asking questions about our conditions of life, okay, and then the values that should be behind that life.
Sure.
So, ethic is maybe something that is more. It is something that is it's more about a philosophy than being something that is practical.
Yeah.
So while, for instance, deontology can be seen as, let's say, a set of obligation and duties set by the rule or regulation that one has to do. We can talk about professional deontology.
Yeah.
So there is a slight difference. The deontology is used to maybe to set an order,
yeah.
While for the ethics, we accepted that order without, we've been mindful to that order.
Yeah,
so
sure.
this is what
Yeah.
the slight difference I can make
course.
about ethics and deontology.
That's fine. That's wonderful and of course understandable. So let's turn to my sister, talking about, of course, the concept. And but I want to go further. I want to talk about the meaning, the real meaning of deontology and ethics when we're talking about faith. What do you think about that?
Thank you, Hassan. It is a really interesting topic, first of all. We need to know that it's life, it's the topic of life. Because whenever us human beings determine our environment, we need to determine it in a specific way, in a special way. So ethic and deontology are two different words and have definitely two different meanings. But the first one recruits the second one. One is in the other. So the word ethics comes from the Greek ethos, which refers to the behavior of an individual based on his personal character. It's a branch of the philosophy that studies the set of moral items, moral norms that influence our actions and beliefs. So we can understand that it's definitely, in some way, the science of morality, which define our moral behaviors and our moral actions. Deontology also, it's another term, different. So from ethics, it comes also from the Greek, specifically in dantos. Dantos means the duty, word from duty. So it's the branch of ethics that set the foundation of our duties as a human, but as groups, developing in different environments and concepts. And it is good to know that Islam has much to do with this, because Islam is a spiritual perspective of living and sharing, and of living and sharing in the good ways and the good behavior. And God subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us in the Holy Quran that we live together as memberships to be able to achieve personal and even professional goals together. But how? By setting off platforms that will allow us to live together and to hold and to achieve our happiness goals or other platform goals. So we need to know that the faith has a lot to do with ethics and deontology. It is important for us to know that faith, it is a spiritual concept, but otherwise being a spiritual concept, we need to understand also that it's a concept going over that. It means that to live our faith as a human being, we need to share it, and we need to share it with human beings. And how will we be able to share it with human beings if we don't have a platform ruling us in the good way? So ethics and deontology are two words, two concepts defining what's good and what's evil according to a principle platform.
That's fine, and we can understand that there is something that you underline. Meaning you talked about rules and you talk about behavior, right? You talk about something like a conduct line, right? Because we're living in society and we have to, understand our relationship, the platform of our relationship. And of course, but Mr. Nyan taught us the starting point of his speech that you don't need to be in relation with rules to think about ethics, while the rules are defining your conduct line when you talk about deontology. So now, we're talking about faith, as you taught us, sister. When we're talking about faith, for example, when we're talking about Islam, when somebody says, all right, ethics and deontologies are vanished from Islam. So, okay, we can say, but how can we demonstrate it, I think when we're talking about scientific way, you have to give proof. So you have to give tangible things that can, allow people to understand what he's talking about, right? So how can we say, deriving from Islamic teachings, that of course, yes, ethics and deontology came from Islam, or they are basic Islamic values?
Okay, Mr. Mbur, I think the question might be simple. Let's start by the starting point.
Yes, the starting point.
And the starting point is the Quran itself. When in the, let's say, the second chapter, Baqarah, God starts with saying this, I quote him, Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitab La Rayba Fihi Hudan Lil Muttaqin. Let's say that the ultimate goal in that set of phrase is that, so the main purpose, the reason why God sends a prophet or series of prophets is to implement good, the notion of goodness, the notion of guidance.
By worshipping him.
By worshipping him. Hudan lil muttaqin. So those who want to endeavor themselves in the path of God have to be let's say on the track he has shown.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned that Huda, I think about Sheikh Ahmad Bamba himself.
Yeah.
When giving some advice to let's say young people, he says, La ya ayyuhasibyanu la tastaghilu anil huda wa bil ulum istaghilu. So meaning that you, the young generation, I'm not translating word for word, but let's just give the meaning.
Yeah.
So that you, the young generation, make of guidance the main thing, that the most valuable thing that you need in life. So, and guidance is, you see, is ethical.
Okay.
When we bring everything in the realm of business, we talk about ethical business.
Yeah.
A business that should take into account the word of God. How he wanted by sending the different prophets to establish an order. And that order should not be dismantled by human being. Remember one thing, when God himself wanted to send Adam on earth, there was a sort of, let's say, platform, okay, it's a sort of forum when he convened the angels and then said to them his will to send Adam, to send a human being as his representative on earth.
At that moment, he did not define the name of the one who that
yes, but that one would be Adam after.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But the worries of the angels were about ethics.
Yeah, sure.
Were ethical worries.
Sure.
Because they said to God, "Atajalu fiha man yufsidu fiha wa yasfiku dima." Would you send one who will dismantle the order and then spread blood? So God himself is really concerned about order. And his angels also, noticing that God himself is very mindful about order, are very mindful about order because they expressed by that way their worries to God.
Yeah.
And God responded saying that he knows that they don't know. Okay? That is why he did what he did by sending Prophet Adam on earth.
Yeah, sure.
So, but the worries of the angels, you know, are founded.
Yeah,
because
sure.
the world is a world of war today. It is a world of disorder. So everything is kind of, jeopardized.
Yeah, sure.
So we talk about crisis of values.
Of course,
if we come to a situation where homosexuality is a debate in our society, it means that an open debate in our society. It means that things are kind of
we live in gloomy situation.
Gloomy situation.
Sure.
So now, Islam can be a response to all this. Yes, because I want to be very simple in this debate by just confining myself to Tazawwud Zihar and then writing of Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, Tazawwud Zihar. When he says, "Ihsanukum ya ayyuhas sibyanu liman lahul arwahu wal abdanu an ta'budullaha ka'annakum ma'a tarawnuhu fattabi'u ma sara'a." You young people, I am transmitting you one word, which is one of the three main words in Islam. After Iman and Islam, it is ihsan. So your ihsan should be by thinking every time the presence of God around you.
Sure.
Feeling
wherever
His presence,
you are,
wherever you are, whatever
God
you are doing, God is around you.
Yeah, sure.
You should be mindful of that presence.
You should bear in mind that.
Yeah,
I know. I know. You know.
Ethic is nothing more than
that. Sure.
Being mindful.
Of course.
Good.
Of course. I think that is the essence of ethics. You know, And yeah, because the topic is interesting, so we're going to come back to that, right? The question is about the rules. So you were talking about the rules and the way God organized the society. You know, when God was sending prophets enough in order to regulate the society and to create relationships, rules between human beings. So he sent them books, holy books, telling them this is the way you're going to behave, this is the way you're going to avoid if you want to be in harmony with God's will. So tonight or today, talking about ethics and deontology, why people are shedding blood on the name of Islam, it means that we have to put back things in its real authenticity. So what do you think about that?
I will, first of all, before talking about that, tell a word to what Mr. Nyang say that it is interesting knowing that the feeling that God is around us can define the concept of ethics. But I would like to say that we need to understand the meaning in two hands. First of all, for the one who don't believe in nothing, we can be atheist and be ethical. It is interesting that we consider that. And but secondly, you know, the faith belongs to the one who is searching for something, searching for the meaning of life. Why am I living? So it is interesting that we put that perspective of Islamic ethics, because every concept can be specialized. And ethical concept and deontology concept can also be specialized. How? For Muslim concept, and Shaykh Ahmad Bamba Khadim Rasul teach us what mean ethics. If you go in Nahjul Hadayil Hajj, he share with us the fact that the person, you need to feel your social accomplishment toward others to feel ethical. And when you go and toward and feel a relationship with others, meaning friendship, family, and all other, you need to be ethical in that relationship. So it's not only in the professional concept or in the professional definition of ethics and deontology, but in that concept also we have to remain, because we spend much more time in our professional context and environments than we spend at home. So how will we fulfill that, what God wants on us, God's deeds on the human being, on where we're searching for those valuable profits? And I think that my favorite definition of what we can share in ethical and deontology is when we reach that connection, that spiritual connection with our faithful life. And it's interesting to know, because spirituality is nothing mysterious. It's not a witch over there hiding himself. It's something that we can touch. We need to understand it. Of course. And we need to understand our own spirituality by living the life and sharing it with others. So definitely you were talking about rules. I think that I belong to those who think that every human being is submit to something. If I was not, I won't be stopping at the red light. So even if I'm not submitted to God or to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I am submitted to the regular order of life. And that means for me to be considering my life with other meanings, I need to have an ethical and deontological way of living and sharing myself, but also my knowledge with others. And it's important. That's why he is right when he say that Shaykh Ahmad Bamba in Talmud Shahad was teaching us that, and he went over it when he say, you need to share that with the person who are in the same typical deeds with you. I mean, the person who will accompany you, who will share that with you, but you have the same goals. You have the same goals. Because we cannot have the same tools to achieve goals if we don't have, we cannot achieve the same goal if we don't have the same tools. I mean, it's not possible. So to come back in there, the rules in which we're submitted to will configure in a certain way our human beings to be responding positively to a concept that we all share, which is ethics and deontology. So it is important to know that and to talk about that submission that you were referring earlier.
Of course. There is something standard, you know. It's about the rules wherever you go. If you, for example, in a company, if you're in a society or in a family, so you're sharing things with people, so you have to know where is the regulation terms that makes you together and combine an action in order to be in a stable situation. Of course. So that's why I think it's very interesting. But the problem is, are we called to behave in relation with the rules or in relation with the right things?
It is an interesting perspective, and I think that we need to consider that we can respond to it in a dual way. I mean, if we do have, and I told you, I don't think that people, human beings, or beings itself are not submitted to something. We are all submitted to something. We're, in a way, submitted to good or to evil, but we are definitely submitted to something. As that, our rights come after. Because I don't believe in rights, Hassan. I believe that rights are just temporary stuff, temporary, excuse me, of the term junk, that people write to make us understand that we have a starting and the ending point.
Sure.
But our fulful rights were at the end in the process were illuminated by God first himself, and that's why it's not about the debate when I say that I don't believe in human rights or in women rights, because those rights were edited by people who believe that they're stronger than the others, and that's not the right.
People who are thinking that human rights is something different from Islam, because they don't know about the content of Islamic teachings.
When a human teach people about human rights, we cannot be involved in the relationship that we are equal. It's the Creator and his relationship with his creation that he can understand the right and the wrong for that subject.
And the Creator sent the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in order to regulate the society. And now, of course, we say that God sent the prophets, different prophets, and different periods with holy books. But the one who combined the mission of the first and the last is the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So we're talking about Islam. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know about that. We're talking about the preparation of the cultural day, the great cultural day dedicated to Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, organized by hizbut-tarqiyyah. It will be on July the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th. So, Ms. Nyan, what do you think about that? The last point, that was developed by our sister, right?
When she was talking about Nahjul Qada al-Hajj and pointing to the notion of rights, I thought of one thing, which is of fundamental, of paramount importance in Nahjul Qada al-Hajj, when Sheikh Ahmad Bamba says, وَرَعَى فِي كُلِّ خَلْقٍ حَقَّ مَنْ قَلَقَ. And I think that can be a starting and even ending point of the debate about ethic in deontology, Mr. Mbub.
Okay, so why?
Why? Because وَرَعَى فِي كُلِّ خَلْقٍ حَقَّ مَنْ قَلَقَ, the Sheikh is inviting us not to consider the rights of human beings, as she said, but the rights of the Creator when we deal with human beings. وَرَعَى فِي كُلِّ خَلْقٍ حَقَّ مَنْ قَلَقَ.
Okay.
Not only the rights of people that we used to consider in this world, but the rights of the Creator, property right of the Creator who is God here.
That's more powerful.
Okay? So God created all human beings, and He has rights over human beings.
Sure.
So dealing with human beings, God is not asking you to consider their rights. He is asking you to consider His rights upon human beings.
Sure.
So this is more powerful.
That's wonderful.
Than any kind of, human rights, demand.
Of course.
So we have in international relations what we call the notion of collective good.
Yeah.
With the dismantlement of, let's say, the borders of societies, the world has become one place where people can interact. The interaction is in such intensity that we need ethical ways of doing things. And then if we just stick to this sentence, وَرَعَى فِي كُلِّ خَلْقٍ حَقَّ مَنْ خَلَقَ, it means that as a Muslim, you should be able to deal with any kind of creatures.
Sure.
Not only Muslims.
Because
behind Hindus.
Behind the title,
Buddhists.
Behind the title, you just
and
think about God, right?
I'm joining her when she said that we can be ethical without being a Muslim.
Talking about just the
so
meaning,
that
right?
collective good today.
Yeah, sure.
Is a matter of real concern in the world. The collective good.
Yeah.
In international relations, most of the time people say that the dominant approach is the approach that is implemented by, for instance, powerful states like the United States, for instance. Dominant approach means that they who are on the top, at top of the others, so they establish a system and they control those who are below.
And the systems create the rules.
The system create the rules.
Yes.
So
exactly.
if we are able to invite everybody to set an eye on what Sheikh Ahmad Bamba is saying, it means that our contribution to that debate would be a great contribution.
Great. So I just want to cite a verse of the God Holy Quran when He said that وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. It's something they're going to say, all right, the supreme rule that has been created by God the Almighty is how to be in a suitable place, suitable situation to worship God. How to worship God. That's the ultimate point. And deriving from that order, God created a kind of different rules platform to help people, attain. To have people make that happen.
Definitely.
And tonight, I think that if we're talking about, for example, peace, if we're talking about living society, if we're talking about exchange around the world, everywhere you go, you're going to see people. They are human beings. They belong to God. And, there is, normally there is no difference between them and you, because you all come from God. So how will it be possible for you to get the sense, the tools, and the support to know how to live with them, to live together with them, without disturbing them, by being in harmony with God's recommendations? That's also a point.
My answer to that will be really simple. I'm going to tell you that the perfect person who will be able to live with all the other creators, his name is a pure and absolute Muslim.
Yes, sure.
That's what we were prepared to.
Yeah.
Because I think the Muslim is the perfect Muslim. It is the international citizen of the world. He is the citizen of the world. And you said later, God said also,
Exactly.
all the good deeds that you do, return to yourself.
I think this is a very wonderful point of explanation of ethics.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, when I am ethical, I am it for myself.
Yes, sure.
There's not, like I say, a good father behind telling him, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to reward you. That
Sure.
I do it for myself.
Yeah.
So, and that's what God is reminding us in Iza Zulzilatul Ardu Zilzalaha, when He tells us that everything that you will do, right or wrong, we will return it to you in the perfect norm. And we do need to understand that we are not, because in the company, for example, in my company, if I'm ethical, or if I'm practicing deontology, it will be because of my boss, because of my superior, because I want him to be happy. But the Islamic perspective doesn't respond like that.
It goes
tells
beyond
you that. You do it
Sure.
for yourself.
Exactly.
And that's why we need to understand that the basic form of the supremacy of the human being is important. This is what is about. What is about the human being.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do forget that. We are behind these tools, we are behind the process, we are behind the company, the professional life, and we forget the main subject of all the history. It's the human being. And so how will we define this perspective for us? And for God, it is really simple. We need to understand that Islam, it's a way of living, wonderful way of living. And morality is what we call the base, is the cornerstone. What is morality? It's all about ethic, deontology, but other concepts that define definitely what we need to understand about living good and achieving the personal goals that the human being need to understand.
Sure.
Lifehood.
Lifehood.
For here and for over there. And that's why Shaykh Ahmad Bamba tells us in Matlab al-Fawzani, for example, that you need to reach that level, that spiritual connection. That you will not be ordered to live only for this world, but you will prepare yourself for this world and for the other. And as I was saying later, and Ms. Runyan said that when I talk about the non-Muslims, I want to make people understand that we do not need to go in that accidental response of saying this is the Muslim definition, this is the world definition. The Muslim definition, it's the good definition.
Exactly.
If the world adopted, that is really good. If it doesn't adopt it, we need to understand that the Muslim faith of a definition, it's the great and the good one. And what we Muslims, sometimes a mistake that we do, we try to controverse. We try to see, oh, how will it belong to it? How will we contract these two definitions? We just put the Muslim perspective there, and we try to put an occidental, a nonsense definition in the right hand, and this is not correct. What's correct is we need to return to the human sense. The others are nonsense, because what the human is not ability to do, we can't define it. It's just not possible. Because I said it to a friend last time when I was in a plane, and I was looking by my window, and I told to her, you know, what amazed me is not the plane. It's not like what is wonderful. It's not this huge machine that I'm flying on it. is the perspective that God gave to the humanity
Yeah.
in a little brain to do this. And I'm sure that in 10 years, the plane will be nothing comparing to what's going to come on. So it is the human sense,
It's
which is
the human
important
sense.
here.
So thank you so much. Time is over, you know.
Is it?
Yeah, time is over. I think that,
That
we
was
got
quick.
so many things to say about the topic. But I'm
Definitely.
going to give you your last word. Maybe if you want to come with something, right? Here you go.
Yeah, just to remind you of this saying of Imam Shafi
Yeah.
in related to the market.
Yeah.
He says that whosoever desires the worldly benefit
Yeah.
shall be knowledgeable, but whosoever desires the benefits in the hereafter also shall be knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable. Absolutely.
So meaning that,
Yeah.
so this topic, which is ethics and deontology as values of Islam rehabilitated by Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, is all the more important as they carry values. So values that put at the center of man's action,
Yeah.
the notion of responsibility. And that responsibility cannot be won if one does not acquire, let's say, knowledge. So knowledge is our company. Knowledge is the recommendation, the highest recommendation of Sheikh Ahmad Bamba towards the younger generation.
Thank you, Mr. Nyan. So I just want to quote a verse of Sheikh Ahmad Bamba in Tazawwud Shubban when he said, Ya ma'shara shubban, in khiftum khajal, faqaddimu ta'aduman alaman. It's exactly what he said. If you don't want to be defeated, the life of hereafter, so be ready to learn. Be ready to be, in situation to improve your level, because any action should be based on science. That's wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can recognize that we're not going to finish this debate because it's a kind of ocean,
Definitely.
But I think that we're going to follow together, the program of Al Muridiya TV and the preparation of this program called the Cultural Day of dedicated to Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, that's going to be organized by hizbut-tarqiyyah on July 15 and 16 and 17 here at Dakar. So thank you very much, so see you later, right? Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Grande journée culturelle, cher Ahmadou Bamba, l'antenne hebdomadaire.